The WWE Universe is in absolute chaos after what can only be described as the most explosive and jaw-dropping reveal in recent wrestling history. Roman Reigns just turned SummerSlam 2025 into an all-out battlefield by introducing a terrifying new enforcer whose mere presence shattered the landscape of WWE in seconds. The entire locker room is reeling, Paul Heyman is on the verge of a psychological breakdown, and Seth Rollins may never be the same again after the carnage that unfolded in front of a stunned live audience. And who exactly is this monstrous force? None other than Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, an unstoppable wrecking machine whose arrival wasn't just unexpected, it was nuclear. Let's rewind and break this down, because every second of this chaos was building towards something far more dangerous than anyone anticipated. For months, Seth Rollins had declared himself the architect of a new WWE era, dominating with his wrecking crew of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker while being masterminded behind the scenes by none other than Paul Heyman. Together, they strutted through Raw and SmackDown as if they owned the place. But like all things in wrestling, power invites consequence, and consequence came crashing through the gates with Roman Reigns' thunderous return. He didn't just come back swinging, he brought Jey Uso with him, reigniting the Bloodline flame. Fans thought this was going to be a standard faction war, a Bloodline reboot at best. But that assumption was obliterated when the lights dropped on Raw and a chilling figure emerged. In that moment, the tribal chief unveiled Jacob Fatu, standing beside him with the quiet rage of a hurricane about to make landfall. Fatu didn't even need to speak. He charged the ring like a force of nature, dismantling Breaker with ease, sending Bronson Reed crashing through barricades, and leaving Seth Rollins broken on the steel steps after a devastating powerbomb that echoed like a death knell for Heyman's faction. And in the middle of the chaos, Roman leaned into Paul Heyman's ear and whispered something so chilling, so deeply personal, that the wise man visibly collapsed in fear. What was said remains a mystery, but one thing is crystal clear: Heyman, the man who once shaped empires with his words, now finds himself powerless in the face of a bloodline reborn with sharper fangs. Jacob Fatu isn't just another Samoan cousin. He is the embodiment of war. Known across the wrestling world as the Samoan werewolf, Fatu brings the speed of a cruiserweight, the power of a heavyweight, and the energy of someone possessed by the ghost of every warrior who came before him. He's not a recruit. He's a statement. A declaration by Roman Reigns that this time, there will be no mercy, no second chances, and no survivors for those who oppose the bloodline. This is not a reunion. It's an execution. And at the center of it all is Paul Heyman, a man once loyal to Roman but who jumped ship when the tribal chief lost his crown. Now the reckoning has come, and Heyman is caught in a storm he helped create. The question on everyone's mind isn't just about what comes next. It's about who survives. Is Roman building a new bloodline to replace the one that betrayed him? Has he finally given up on family loyalty and instead embraced absolute control with Fatu as his weapon of destruction? And what about Jey Uso? Once the heartbeat of the bloodline, does he still have a place in Roman's new empire, or is he simply being used as a pawn before he too is discarded? As we move closer to SummerSlam, the stakes have never been higher. With Seth Rollins injured and potentially sidelined, Heyman is scrambling to hold together what remains of his fractured alliance. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are capable, but even their combined strength may not be enough to withstand the wrath of Roman's new monster. WWE fans are speculating that Heyman may try to recruit a wildcard, maybe someone like Drew McIntyre or Gunther, or even swallow his pride and beg Brock Lesnar to return to settle old debts. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes is watching from a distance, knowing the bloodline's path of destruction may soon lead straight to him. Triple H is doing damage control behind the scenes, trying to prevent a civil war from ripping WWE apart, but with Jacob Fatu in the mix, control may no longer be possible. And don't be surprised if this feud stretches all the way to WrestleMania, because the seeds planted here could erupt into something far more catastrophic. Picture the main event: Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jacob Fatu standing tall on one side, and on the other, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and a mystery partner with a personal vendetta, maybe even Kevin Owens or a returning Randy Orton. Or maybe we're headed toward a singles dream match: Fatu versus Breaker, a collision of two generational monsters that could tear the ring apart. Behind all of it looms the figure of Paul Heyman, a man famed for building legends now trapped between the consequences of betrayal and the fear of annihilation. Will Heyman turn on his own team to survive? Will Roman accept him back, or is this revenge a slow burn meant to humiliate and erase the very man who once crowned him the tribal chief? With every episode of Raw and SmackDown, new clues are dropping. Fatu might start delivering promos of his own, signaling a growing independence and perhaps his own ambitions. Jey might begin to question Roman's leadership. And if Jimmy Uso returns, we could see yet another fracture in the family, one that ends in blood. The WWE universe is divided. Some believe Roman has finally created the perfect bloodline, one forged in brutality and loyalty. Others think Fatu is the spark that could ignite a rebellion from within. Either way, one thing is certain: SummerSlam 2025 is not just another pay-per-view. It's a battlefield where legacies will be tested, alliances will be broken, and the future of WWE will be written in war. Stay locked in, because this is only the beginning of a saga that will reshape everything you thought you knew about the bloodline, about power, and about what it truly means to acknowledge the tribal chief.